Hi, it's Cass, and I wanted to share our birth story with you. The little miss, there she is. Look at her smiling. So she turned a month old on October 1st. I wanted to introduce everybody to Kaylee. This is Kaylee. She got her mama's red hair. Big girl. Sorry the lighting isn't that great in here. The baby is actually currently sleeping. She's kind of making some noises right now, so she'll probably be up soon. So this past Friday, she just turned 6 weeks old. It's hard to believe it's been that long. But yeah, she'll be 6 weeks this Friday. So I don't know what took me so long to do this. Probably lack of time, but I wanted to go ahead and share with you. So let's get into it. So on Friday, September 1st, we had an appointment to be at the hospital at 12:30 to do my pre-op and get ready for a scheduled C-section, which was to be at 3:30. The reason for the scheduled C-section is because I hadn't really dilated, and it was barely effaced. And every time they checked me, they didn't feel like she was dropping and that she was just very high up. I talked with my doctor, and I kind of requested the C-section, or just asked about it, and we talked about it, and we just decided it was the best thing for us to do. So we get there, and the hospital tells us that we didn't actually need to be there until 1:30. Okay, that's great, but what am I supposed to do for an hour? Not allowed to eat anything. I actually couldn't eat anything after midnight the night before, and I think that I ate dinner at 7, so I hadn't eaten anything since then. I drink a little bit of apple juice the morning of. I was told I could have clear liquid. So we just sat in the waiting room and waited and waited and waited. And 1:30 came around, and I went to go check in, and they told me they didn't have a room ready. So I didn't actually get back into a room until sometime after 2, maybe close to 3. And the closer I got to the time that I was supposed to be taken back for the C-section, they kept telling me that it got pushed back because of the baby's right here. So if you see my arm rocking, that's what's going on. She's in her rock and play, but it's not an automatic one. They kept coming in saying, oh, it's going to be pushed back a little because we had to do other emergency C-sections on others. Evidently there was a lot of births that day. But nonetheless, we finally got to go back around 7:30 or 8, probably closer to 8, because she was born at 8:16. So they took me back and got me all prepped and everything. When they did the spinal tap, that was the weirdest feeling ever. Like my legs and whole body from like my chest down went numb. Like they told me it would, but it was so quick and it felt so weird. It was just crazy. So they did that, and then they brought my husband in to be there while she was being born. It didn't actually take long for her to be born, but they did have to use a little suction vacuum thing because she was like really up in there and did not want to come out. She was evidently really comfortable, so they had to. Oh, a kiwi. They called it a kiwi. They had to use the kiwi to get her out. So they got her out and cleaned her up a little bit, weighed her, measured her. She was 8'3", her weight was 8'3", and she was 20 inches long. She had beautiful red hair. A little bit, and gave her to my husband so that he could hold her beside me so I could, see her and stuff. And we tried to lay her on my chest while they were like, stitching me back up or doing whatever they do after they actually get her out, because I had the curtain up, so I couldn't see anything. We got to do that for a little bit, and then they took him and her into the recovery room while they finished up with me, and then we went into recovery. And recovery, it was kind of rough. Well, once the drugs started wearing off, when we first got in there, it wasn't that bad. I just kept feeling kind of funny, and I don't know if it was a combination of the fact that I hadn't eaten and I was hungry, and my hormones were all out of whack, and then I had all these drugs in my system. We stayed in recovery for about an hour. I got to hold her on my chest. We tried to get her to breastfeed, to latch, but we actually had some latching issues we've resolved them now, but at the hospital, we had a hard time. She has a tiny mouth and her upper lip is really small, and she like tucks it, so I think that was part of the problem. And I'm not very well endowed, so we had to work on it. There's a lot of gross stuff that happens in there. I remember bits and pieces of it. I remember them pushing really hard on my stomach, which I thought was kind of crazy. You know, just all I could think is, oh my God, they're gonna bust my stitches. But you know, they're nurses and doctors. They know what they're doing. After we had spent about an hour in recovery, we got moved to a room, and my family had been there for a long time, like a while, because they thought, you know, that we were gonna be having the baby around 3:30 and they'd get to see her around 5 or 6, but that wasn't the case. They actually didn't get to see her until probably close to 10. And I was pretty exhausted, and of course, you know, I was still recovering and stuff. And once we got to, I think the motion of the cart, like being wheeled to my room and the drugs wearing off, made me feel nauseous. So once we actually got settled in a room and stuff, I ended up getting sick. But they told me it was completely normal. I didn't expect that. And again, all I could think was, oh my God, I'm gonna bust a stitch. So you know, I tried to hold it back as long as I could. But that only happened like twice, and then I finally got some rest while Delbert took care of the baby. And family came in and got to see her, and you know, I was being like evaluated and checked. Little Miss is waking up. I still didn't get to eat anything. I did try to take some ginger ale and water, but I thought that I would be starving, but after the surgery I really wasn't. The next morning, however, when I was finally cleared to eat, I did have yogurt and cereal, and that stayed down. It was good to finally have something on my stomach. They told me that I couldn't eat real food until I either like passed gas. So around lunchtime, I finally got to eat a sub that a good friend had brought me. It was very enjoyable to finally have that sub and finally have some food on my stomach after not eating for over 24 hours. I did not realize how rough the recovery would be the next day. It was very so they put these little things on my legs, I guess, you know, during the surgery and overnight. They I guess pumped circulation. I remember them being on my legs and then them coming in the next day to take them off, to get me up and walking, and you know, kind of take some of my IVs and wires out and get me up and walking and get me to the bathroom to get me cleaned up. So getting out of the bed for the first time was nice, but it was very difficult. I just throughout the day kind of worked on getting in and out of the bed and walking around and, you know, trying to get myself up. I was still on pain meds, so that probably helped, but the cut down here at my bikini line, every time I got in and out of the bed, even though I had the bed as low as it goes, I'm short to begin with, so it was kind of hard because I had to step up a little, and then carrying her, it was kind of hard. With the C-section, you have to be there 3 days. So we went in on Friday and did not get to come home until Monday. So when we finally got to come home on Monday, you know, Delbert pretty much had to do everything for me around the house for the first week and a half, because the recovery was it took a little longer than I thought it would, and then it's actually still numb now, but a lot of the pain is gone and I can actually bend over. I was looking forward to being able to lay on my stomach or my side again, but she makes us hold her an awful lot, so she doesn't really allow for that. And a lot of the times to go to sleep, one of us will have to fall asleep with her on our chest before we lay her down. So I kind of went off topic a little bit. Nothing real exciting happened other than just the wait, because everything was planned out and it didn't take as long as most. What the doctor did say once he actually got in there and finally got her out, that they could have induced labor, but it still probably would have resulted in a C-section anyway, and I would just be completely exhausted by then. So we made the best choice for us, because she was pretty high up in there. She had not dropped at all. She was comfortable. She did not want to come out. And we had her exactly at 41 weeks, so she was a week late. Anyway, I know it wasn't exciting as most people's birth stories. I do kind of hope, like, if and when we have another, I'm probably going to regret saying this because I was terrified of labor and delivery to begin with, but I would kind of like to experience the labor and delivery, you know, provided it's not like a tragic experience. But for our next one, it would be kind of nice to experience that, but hopefully that's at least 2 or 3 years down the road. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off now, I guess, because she's waking up, as you can see, and she probably wants to eat. Now, that's our story. Thank you for listening. I would love to hear your birth story, or if you have any questions, just leave a comment below, or either your story, or if you've made a video, or if you plan on making a video so I can go watch it. Or if you have any questions, just leave them below, and I will be more than happy to answer them. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day, and me and Kaylee say bye-bye.